Hi, I'm Vizzy. I like making diagrams, so let's cut the bullshit and get right into it. So what are we looking at here? I wanted to start this video in a little bit of a different way and show you my thought process when it came to making the cube. So this all stemmed from one question. What makes a furry? In my research online, a lot of it had a sliding scale, with the left side being obviously human and the right side being just an animal. Like something right here would be like wearing bunny ears or cat makeup, just something that's definitely not being a furry, but is furry adjacent, while this area is just like a Pokemon. So this would mean furry would be somewhere in the middle area. So with that being said, I started thinking about this graph a little bigger. This line became a full hexagonal shape, with humans on one side and animals on the other, and then furries right in the middle. But then as I thought about it more, humans and animals aren't that dissimilar to put them on completely opposite sides. I mean, humans are animals, usually classified as rational animals. So then to me, it would make more sense to put them something like this, with furry being right in the middle. But then this clearly begs the question, what goes here? And it was in that questioning that I started thinking more about what this cube really starts to describe, which leads us back to this version of the cube. So what I'm going to do now is explain each of these parts individually. This is not the completed version of the cube, but I wanted to start with the outside layer first. So going clockwise, we have humans. Pretty straightforward. We pretty much understand what a human is. And a lot of this will be vibes based, not very scientific, and I'm not claiming to be a scientist. This is just for fun. So every single spot that's colored are the major categories. The titles in the middle without a color are the intermediary between types. These are a little less concrete and could be subject to change in the future. So between humans and animals, you have anthro. This is the scientific way to say furry, or furry adjacent. Animals, pretty much a catch-all category for anything that is not a human that is an animal. Frankenstein, these are reanimated animals or humans. Anything that was once living and that is now given life. Now this can also apply to things that were not living, that were reanimated by some kind of spirit or spectral entity. Plush, soft, cute, cuddly, inanimate objects. Really not that much more to it. Animatronics, like from Five Nights at Freddy's, Chuck E. Cheese. Third example, definitely something that's robotic that looks like it's supposed to emulate life in some way. Machines, another catch-all term. From a fridge, to a toaster, to a sword, to a hammer. Next up is Cronenberg. Cronenberg is the catch-all terms for body horror. Things like his movie The Fly or Videodrome. You could also use this to describe a movie like Akira. Aliens is another catch-all term. Anything otherworldly that is not from this earth. From the stereotypical green little men to the xenomorph. Next up is Eldritch. This pretty much describes any strange phenomenon that is mystical or magical, and sometimes otherworldly. From your Greek pantheon, to Cthulhu, to even Santa in some way. Monster has to do with a lot of things that we're scared of. Monstrous amalgamations of things like dragons, phobias personified like beings made of shadow or fire. And you may think there's a bit of overlap with Monster and Eldritch, which is part of the reason they're right next to each other. But an easy way to describe the difference are monsters are fear of the known, and Eldritch are unknown horrors. Lastly, we round off the cube with Demi. So basically anything half human, half something else. Half god, half human, Demi. Half demon, half human, Demi. Half human, half angel, Demi. So now that I've explained the cube, you may be wondering, so what use is this anyway? Well, it has two main functions. The first is finding out where a fictional character would fit into. Let's take Santa from earlier. So definitely, he would be Eldritch, a mythological being that precedes our minds. More often described as a human, a little plushy, and if we were to make a little triangle between these, we'd find Santa would be somewhere around this area. The other use for the cube is as a creative tool. Maybe you're looking for a creative idea for a character, and you don't exactly know where to start. So you can use multiple categories to make a different kind of character. Maybe you want a character that's a machine of some type, but you also kind of want them to be old and ancient. And maybe you even just want it to look really cute too. Then while thinking of all these things, we can find something that fits right in the middle. That's the intro to the cube. You may still be wondering what goes into each of these different slots, but we'll have to save that for next time. In the Cube, Part 2.